It's a fight, but I think it's necessary. I think it would be terrible to have only mainstream cinema, but I think it would be equally terrible to have only experimental cinema.
Completely.
No, it would be a disaster. If it would be like that, I would like to make mainstream cinema. You need the two, you need both, or even all the forms in order to shape each other and to keep each other into a certain balance, I think.
Yeah, and I think your movie about commercials, it's a bit the same. What I do now as a spectator is because I'm very ecological. I only watch garbage. That's my, that's the thing, that's life for me.
I'm not a cinephile in the way it's understood today, because a cinephile, I think, more and more means someone who watches 10 films a day, everything is interesting. And I'm a bit schizoidic here, because on one hand I believe that everything is interesting to analyze in a certain way, but not everything can become a model, if you want. And I'm also much more interested, or not much more, but as much as I'm interested in cinema, I'm interested in everything else, every field of arts.
I never thought about cinema was about cinema. I always thought it was the life I perceived and everything else. And I was a cinephile when I was a teenager. I would see like 3-4 films a day. But the more you watch films, the less percentage of novelty you have. Not because the films are bad or whatever, it's because you have all the history of cinema. And for other people, it's novelty. For me, sometimes it's just reshaping old ideas.
Of an old thing.
Old thing. So it's in between. So
and I think it's something else. I don't know how it is for you, but I was a teenager after the revolution of 1989 in Romania, and the country was opening up, but culturally was still, and especially regarding cinema, very isolated still. So to see a film, either classical or new, was something sometimes extremely difficult. For instance, you had to wait months to see a black and white copy of A Clockwork Orange by Kubrick.
Wow.
So, and I didn't know, and it was in the 90s, I didn't know, for instance, that Taxi Driver is not a black and white film. And then I remember, and I watched it 3 or 4 times in a row, and I remember an interview with Scorsese on TV saying, I don't like in Taxi Driver how the red color was. I said, what red color? He's crazy, it's black and white. So, the idea to wait for months for a film and the impossibility to see it made the experience of watching it extremely powerful. Now my hard drives are full with thousands of films and I forget I even have them.
When people ask me, are films worse than before? I don't know, but I know the spectators are worse. They want less and less and less.
That's going to be the headline. Spectators are worse, the worst.
Yesterday, someone asked me, what do you think about the people who work in the industry and the threat of AI? And my answer was, I don't work in the industry. My passion is for life. I love doing cinema, but it's not cinema who rules my obsessions, my problems. So that's it.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit, in the last years, a little bit the opposite, because I work so much for the films that apart from my family life, I'm a bit confiscated by the work.
Yeah, but that's work.
Yeah.
That's different from cinema. You're obsessed on finishing something, and you're obsessed with doing new things, and that's what I do. I spend a lot of time working, but yeah, I miss life sometimes, but maybe that's why we love life so much, because you give value to...
Yeah. Also, there's something interesting that I read at some point in Godard. That he said there shouldn't be a difference between living your life and making films. They should be together. So, so in a way, for me, it became more and more like this, because I work all the time, so it's not now I'm living and now I'm working. Now I'm living, now I'm making cinema. So it's a bit all together, and that makes it more pleasurable in a way, I think.
Well, I have an office in my partner.
Yeah. Okay.
I alternate between working at home and working outside.
Yeah.
And well, I work with two people, so sometimes it's difficult. And so it's yeah, it's a way of life. You don't see as some kind of interval in between the things. There's one thing that's really more important than making cinema in AI is to reshape the prejudices. Every time I would do a prompt of a girl, there was this horrible, beautiful girl appearing all the time, always the same kind, and I had to fight a lot to tame the algorithm for she not to appear, and then I would write just a man, and so it would appear, because I would do hundreds of images. So I think we have the obligation to give different inputs, different ethnic inputs, different options of life, so that the machine doesn't become a racist entity.
I see the AI, I mean, the way I'm using it is as just a kind of another tool where you can use it intelligently or not. I don't know if I use it intelligently, I try to. And of course, people can complain, industry can complain for good reasons. They say we lose work. For instance, in this film, because I really did it like a kind of a Roger Corman movie. I mean, I had half of the budget I needed to shoot, and still I made the shooting. I'm still having to finish in September. And I said the only solution is to make the complicated scenes, some of them, which would cost a lot of money, and we didn't have that money, to try and make it with AI. And of course, they don't look like, and I don't want, I really want to have a B-movie aesthetics. So this AI really was cost effective. Now, of course, industry could say, oh, you use AI, so with a few thousand euros, you did scenes that normally would cost 100,000. So this is a loss I mean, it's not a loss because we didn't have the money anyway.
That's it.
So,
That's it.
so you do it or not. But I can understand that, but I think it was always like that. When the green screen appeared, of course, they didn't spend billions on making sets. You just draw the sets on the green screen. So it was always a fight. Now when the digital cameras appeared, of course it's very nice, and I did films on 60mm, etc. But now you can make a cheaper film in digital than to make it in 35. So it was always a fight between a certain type of aesthetics, you can like it or not, it doesn't matter, and to be cost effective, always.
It's true, it's true.
There's no problem with that. You just have to find your way to adapt, I think.
Yeah, I started shooting in 16, but very early I had a camera, and my friends were musicians, do-it-yourself thing. And other people from cinema would say, oh, video, it's not cinema, as the format was the medium. Like, oh no, I want to just, what I would do is, in the end, I would shoot the monitor in 35, and so that I could show it in cinema festival. That's cinema. I did that a lot. Cinema. I would ask money just for the rolls. The rolls, and that's it. For us as independent filmmakers and low budget, it's perfect. You don't fire anyone. That's not the question of knowing if it's improbable to win over bad people, because the question is not AI for me, is bad people who want to use it for. And we keep forgetting that humans are behind AI. It's not Terminator still, or Matrix. So that's the thing. I am afraid. That's why I'm doing it.
I don't know, I'm using AI in the new film. But I use it in a way that I want to see all the failure. I was very impressed when I saw Telepathic Letters, because there's so many wrong things.
Yeah, now it's more difficult to do it.
I know, and I work with someone who's actually a composer, Vlajko Golcha, and a musician, but he's crazy about AI. And we do together some parts from my Dracula film I'm working now. And whenever the program makes something wrong, we keep it.
Of course.
Because that's a kind of special poetics
yes.
into this wrong. Yeah, and you can see in his film the same poetics with this AI. So I think this, of course, is more and more used in all kinds of ways, or ChatGPT. There's articles now, and you can spot in Romanian press where it's written with ChatGPT because sometimes there's wrong translations or wrong expressions, weird expressions in Romanian, and it's obviously, sometimes people complain on social media, they say, oh, this is what a stupid journalist. Actually, no, it's nobody, there's no journalist there, it's just somebody who made the prompt in ChatGPT and just published it there as an article. It's no article, basically. So in this kind of way, and yeah, of course, I think we have to be aware, and is it a way to fight that? I don't know. Yeah. Is it a way to use it? Yes, I try to use it in certain ways.
That's it. I think with ChatGPT, you have to know more than ChatGPT before you make your questions, but that's the same in life. You have to know something to really make a good question. You have to know a lot. And I think what you said... And
also to have taste. Because at some point, if you make poems, you ask ChatGPT to make a poem, let's say a haiku, let's say, and you can find one good verse, and then you can ask for the others two to be made again and again and again, and in the end you have... But how can you know if it's a good haiku or not? You have to have the knowledge before.
Of course.
And the literary taste already formed in order to pick
you
it
have
up.
To, But I feel we're living, what you were talking about is that we're living like in a Philip K. Dick novel now. Mm-hmm. We're starting to live the more and more in fake realities.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah. Absolutely.